Hi there, welcome to the channel. This video is going to be a little different to the others I've made so far. Instead of simply reading the lore, we're going to have a chat about a quest which, in my humble opinion, is the best in the entire game of Oblivion. Sit back, chill out for a few minutes, and listen to me stumble my way through explaining my thoughts on an 18-year-old game that's been done to death hundreds of times already. The Dark Brotherhood appears in one way or another throughout all the Elder Scrolls games, whether as their progenitor, the Morag Tong, or as themselves, the Dark Brotherhood. They're a clandestine group of assassins that receive their contracts in the most edgy way possible. The person who needs their services can't just knock on the door to the hideout, write a check and leave a request. They have to undertake what's called the Black Sacrament, which is about as unpleasant as it sounds. The book A Kiss, Sweet Mother, found in Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls Online, explains: create an effigy of the intended victim, assembled from actual body parts, including a heart, skull, bone, and flesh. Encircle that effigy with candles. The ritual must then commence. Proceed to stab the effigy repeatedly with a dagger, rubbed with the petals of a nightshade plant, while whispering this plea: sweet mother, send your child unto me, for the sins of the unworthy must be baptized in blood and fear. Then wait, child, for the dread Father Sithis rewards the patient. You will be visited by a representative of the Dark Brotherhood. So begins a contract bound in blood. Despite this being a time-intensive way to get new business, the Dark Brotherhood over the years has been kept busy with requests and contracts, and they're arguably at the peak of their reach during the time of Oblivion. This has changed by the time we see them again in Skyrim, but that's another video. One portentous evening in the Third Era, the owner of Summermist Manor in Skingrad laboured to complete the Black Sacrament and contacted the Dark Brotherhood for a rather unique opportunity: the chance to claim 5 souls for Sithis in a single job, whilst being locked in the same house and somehow remaining undetected. More specifically, speaking with Ochiva from the Cheydinhall Sanctuary.
Oh, are you ready to mingle with the doomed house guests? The contract is waiting. Do you like parties? Because you've been invited to one. Of course, you'll be killing all the other guests. Are you ready to attend? Splendid. You need to go to the city of Skingrad, to the large house known as Summit Mist Manor. There, you will meet up with 5 very unlucky guests. In order to receive your bonus, you must kill each guest secretly, one by one. If anyone sees you committing murder, the bonus is forfeit. The guests believe there is a chest of gold hidden in the house, and have agreed to be locked inside until one of them finds it. In fact, the guests believe the key to the manor is inside the chest, and only by satisfying their greed will they be allowed to leave. Poor fools. There is, of course, no chest of gold. The guests will find no key. After you arrive, the doors will be locked behind you, as everyone expects. When all the guests lie dead, you will be free to leave. Now go. See the doorman at Summit Mist Manor. He will explain the rest. Have fun. Each guest, at some point in the past, wronged their mysterious host. Now, he's hired us to exact his revenge.
So, the premise is simple. It's a bit like a locked room mystery, except rather than solving anything, the name of the game is surreptitious and furtive murder. This already sets itself apart from all the other quests you've done to this point. When you hear assassination, you usually think about staying undetected, sneaking in the shadows, creeping up on your targets, and getting away as quickly as possible. Normally, being locked in the same building with your target would be the worst possible scenario for an assassin to be in. Literally, the mission right before this one has you sneaking into a heavily fortified bandit camp, switching your target's medicine for poison, which, by the way, is found in a brightly lit cabinet, and remaining undetected both going in and leaving, otherwise the quest fails. This is exactly the kind of shenanigans you'd normally expect from a silent, stealthy assassin of an underground cult. In Whodunit, however, there's basically no choice but to be seen by everyone. The name of the game here is not so much about a traditional stick-to-the-shadows stealth, but about a social stealth. The skill being tested here is your ability to be convincing to everyone, gain their trust, learn their innermost thoughts, and bide your time until the perfect opportunity to betray them. Of course, we're given the quite janky mechanics that Oblivion used for the speech skills, so it doesn't exactly pan out this way. Instead of being able to apply your own ideas and create unique subterfuge, you basically have to feed them a conversation pie.
Whenever I thought I was starting to lose myself in the experience, some NPC would get stuck on a paving stone or force me to feed them that stupid conversation pie.
Until they all but tell you what they're thinking, who they trust, and who they don't. That said, you can see what the people who made this quest were going for here, and still achieved a great effect. This isn't a quest about staying literally invisible and poisoning someone, although you can. Nor is it about abusing the stealth archer mechanics, although we do. This is about a more sinister, personal assassination of multiple targets, 1 second laughing and bonding, the next sticking a knife into their back. This is made an awful lot easier if you were a good little assassin in the previous quest. Getting the bonus reward for remaining undetected, you receive a rather fetching outfit called the Deceiver's Finery, giving you bonuses to speechcraft and personality skills, which basically makes it easier to force-feed your targets their conversation pie. I wish there were more quests like this in the Dark Brotherhood questlines across all of the games. Something about relying on your wits and words to gain ground, rather than speed and swords, absolving yourself of suspicion. It just speaks to the real evil that you're more likely to find in real life. It's almost more personal of an assault if someone gains your trust before betraying you, rather than just attacking you out of nowhere. The only other quest that comes to mind that's like this doesn't come until Skyrim's pinnacle of the Dark Brotherhood questline, and it doesn't even really rely on this to the same extent. I should say, spoilers, obviously, for a 10-plus-year-old game now, but if you haven't played it yet, then I feel like I'm off the hook at this point. In Skyrim, the Brotherhood's look has been on a downward spiral since the loss of their listener in the Fourth Era. This is covered in real time in Cicero's journal entries, which, conveniently, I have a video about here. The listener is a special chosen member of the Brotherhood, who the Night Mother, I can spend a whole other video telling you about her, tells about the various people completing the Black Sacrament. It's how the jobs are delivered to the various branches and contracts carried out. The war between the Aldemiri Dominion and the Empire made operation incredibly difficult for the Brotherhood, and many of their sanctuaries were raided and destroyed. By the time we find them, there's only one sanctuary left that we know about, and they've taken to the streets to hear about contracts. The Night Mother hasn't deemed it fitting to name a new listener yet, so this is the only way they can operate. It's not exactly efficient, as there's a kid called Aventus Arantino in Windhelm. He does the Black Sacrament for days on end, and the player accidentally steals their contract. With this decline, it's do or die for the Brotherhood. In a Hail Mary move, the leader of the outfit, Astrid, agrees a contract with an ambitious man named Armand Motiere to eliminate the Emperor himself on his visit to Skyrim. The plan is simple, but reminiscent of the Whodunit quest. You take the place of a famous chef named the Gourmand, who's been hired to cook for the Emperor. After relocating the original, you rock up to the palace and imitate the man himself. Thankfully, his identity is a secret to everyone, so no one knows what he's meant to look like. You then have to create the dish that you're serving, trick the assistant chef into going along with your diverse changes to the ingredients.
A giant's toe? You're sure about that?
And, when no one's looking, slip in the special something that spells disaster. This is less social manipulation than the whodunit quest, but definitely gives the same energy, as it's about trickery, imitation, and conviction, rather than simple stabby-stabby. If we ever get an Elder Scrolls 6, which has been promised for longer than I care to remember at this point, I'd love to see more options around social stealth. Everyone loves the OP stealth archer, and it's definitely a fun way of playing, but there's nothing quite like the feeling of juggling multiple acts of subterfuge to multiple people, pitting them against each other, and never being under suspicion yourself. With any luck, the speech mechanics will be more interesting as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the most common ways you see it, whether just locked behind a skill wall or a flat percentage chance of it working no matter what skill points you have in it, a la Fallout 3. Thanks for watching. I've been a big fan of YouTube essays for several years now, and until now I've never given it a go myself. It always seemed that script writing would be a big hurdle, and then having to learn all the video editing skills and stuff that goes with it just felt like a lot. I'm still trying to use console commands to skip around quests and get my own footage, and it's a massive pain, so I've credited people where I couldn't get my own as best as I can. Are there any other quests in Oblivion or Skyrim that you'd like to hear about? I'm uploading more and more videos as weeks go by, so feel free to drop something in the comments. See you next time.